Pharma in focus. There is news with regards to Sun's Halol facility, but there is a bigger news flow with regards to India-US. Vishal Manchanda, pharma analyst at Systematix Group, is with us. Vishal, good to have you with us here. I'm going to start with the bigger stuff. At the margin, there's always been this fear overhang of sectoral tariffs. But the point is, we got more than, tariffs imposition in India was higher than anybody expected, and now we seem to be walking back. Does that take away some of these sectoral tariff fears as well?
So pharma so far remains exempt, but the Section 232 investigations are ongoing, and we might see some announcements on the tariff front, maybe a month or 2 months later from now. As we have discussed this earlier, I think tariffs from an India perspective, it is difficult for Indian companies to absorb the tariffs, and so they'll need to pass this. And whether or not so the question is whether there will be other companies who can supply generics cheaper than what India supplies to the US. So my sense is we don't have any other cheaper options than India. Even if tariffs being higher in India versus other countries, I would still say India has a significant edge on manufacturing generics at a lower cost. So my sense is I'm not worried about the tariffs, but they'll have some interim transient impact on the industry. But Indian companies should be able to sail through those.
Sure, and absolutely. Even if things indeed start to thaw out, maybe that unease also vanishes. By the way, I should just point out, since we're talking tariffs, and we're obviously discussing pharma, look at what's happening to the other sectors. In the pre-open, stocks like Gokuldas, Indocount, all of them are surging 4, 5, 6%. And then the shrimp exporters, keep an eye out on them as well because of the developments with the EU, more exports to the EU. So those are your, basically some of these export pockets are doing very well in the pre-open. Vishal, good to have you on. So, that's on the general tariff front. Specifically on Sun Pharma, there's fresh development. I think now there's a official action indicated status on their Halol plant. What does that mean? Because anyway, this plant was under an import alert. So is it at all an additional negative? I'm not sure if anything was going out to the US in any case. And overall, what's your call on the stock?
Yeah. So I think expectations were low. So people were not expecting the import alert to be lifted. And so not incrementally negative, but had this been, say, import alert getting lifted, this would have been certainly a big positive because Sun Pharma has lost significant amount of revenues in US generics because of the Halol import alert over the last 2-3 years. So had this been lifted, we could have seen growth in their US generic business, which has been lackluster over the last 3-4 years. So I think neutral from Sun Pharma point of view, as there were no expectations. Overall, my call on Sun is a buy. So I think the risk reward is better in Sun versus other large cap generic companies. Largely, what I'm expecting is over the next 4 to 5 years, Sun revenue should grow high single digit to mid-teens, depending on how their various launches on the specialty front shape up the next 3 to 4 years.
Absolutely. So, okay. So, Sun Pharma, I mean, not sort of gunning for it in a big way, but let's get your top picks then. Now, either a company where you think they have great US, scale-up potential, a great pipeline, or maybe a more India-focused company. Just give us your topics.
So Sun and Cipla are the larger names we prefer in the space, largely because of their lower exposure to US generics. So Sun probably has got 10 to 15% of their sales exposed to US generics. Cipla has got about 30% of their sales exposed to US generics. But one good thing about Cipla is they have a lot of manufacturing of their generic products being done in the US. So from a kind of hypothetically, they're less prone to any tariff risk. While we believe that tariffs are not going to impact the sector on a medium to long term basis, but still it's safer to be in Cipla and Sun. And again, Cipla has got a pipeline that we think should play out in the US in the next 2 years, next 1 to 2 years, meaningfully well. That's broadly on my topics.
All right, Vishal, thank you very much for that. A really good conversation. Appreciate you joining us with that perspective.